record.
What's up, guys?
Figured it out.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Good job, Kevin.
So I'm making you guys another video. I was gonna tell you guys about this before, but I felt like people wouldn't believe me. So now I got my homie here to tell you the story of how we met.
You tell the story.
Well,
I'm here to verify it.
Okay. All right. So this is Thom Hazaert.
That's me.
Yep, that's him.
Unbelievable, right?
So, remember, I don't know, you guys may remember this, when I was like, something happened on my birthday and I had a story that I was going to tell you, but I would tell you later. Alright, so this is what happened on my birthday. When I first got to Trenton State Prison, the first thing I did was buy a TV and a radio. And it took like forever for those to come, like 2 or 3 months, I think. But I finally got my TV, got my radio, and I asked this guy, I said, hey man, are there any rock and roll stations around here? And he was like, yeah, 93.3 MMR out of Philadelphia. So I was like, all right, cool. So I tuned into the radio station, and it was an awesome station. Like, I loved it. It's called Everything That Rocks. They play everything from like the 60s to the current. But I love that station. I still do. Anyway, every Monday through Friday, there was a guy named Pierre Robert who would come on, and he would do something called the workforce blocks. And he would take like requests of, people would write in and be like, oh, it's mine and my wife's anniversary, and we love the Eagles. Could you play us a block of the Eagles? And so like he would do that. But one day he made a comment about getting a letter in the mail, and he was like, I got an actual letter in the mail today, and he said that's really unusual because everything is all like email and text nowadays. So for whatever reason, that gave me the idea to write this guy a letter. And so I wrote him a letter and was like, look, I told him who I was. I told him, that I was across the river in Trenton State Prison, that I was innocent of what they said I did. And wrote him this letter. I said, I know you're probably going to play a block of John Lennon today because, not today. I wrote him a couple weeks before my birthday. But on December 8th, I said, I know you're probably going to play a block of John Lennon because I was born the day that John Lennon died. But it's my birthday, and it's also Corey Taylor's birthday. And I would like for you to play me a block of Corey Taylor music because that's my favorite musician. And so, long story short, he did that. I almost didn't even catch it, but this dude was like, I was back in Hazaert, and this dude yelled down the tier. He goes, hey, country. I'm like, yo. He goes, Millhouse said they talking about you on the radio. So I flipped over to it and I caught it, and I was like, man, that's cool. So I did it again the next year, and then I did it again the next year. Like, that became my thing. Every year on my birthday, a couple weeks before my birthday, I would write into this radio station and I would ask them to play Slipknot or Corey Taylor, Stone Sour, whatever, for me. And so one of the songs that I requested was a cover of Tom Petty's You Got Lucky that he had recorded, and I knew that he had been to that radio station before. But after the third year, I sent the letter off, and I think it was like the very next day, I hear a commercial come on the radio that's like, it says live December 8th, Camden Amphitheater, which is right next to Trenton, New Jersey, or it's right next to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So anyway, I hear that on the radio that like Slipknot and Korn are coming to town. So I go back, I get out another piece of paper, I write a letter, and I don't know what even made me do this. I guess just boredom. You don't have nothing else to do when you're locked in a cage. So, but anyway, out of the chance that Corey Taylor might show up at that radio station, I wrote another letter to the radio station, and I wrote a letter to Corey Taylor telling him happy birthday, I've been listening to him forever, blah, blah, blah. And sorry about that. But, yeah, long story short, I wake up that morning, it was December 8th, 2014, and I turned the radio up, and it was the morning show, it's still early, and MMR's morning shows, these guys named Preston and Steve, and they were doing something called a Camp Out for Hunger, and they were taking donations of canned goods for like homeless people. Anyway, Corey Taylor was there with them, and I was just listening, just like, oh hell no, no way. And I sat there like on the edge of my bunk like all morning listening to the radio just to see if this guy was going to give him my letter. 12 o'clock comes, Pierre don't show up. About 12:15 or 12:20 he finally shows up. He made a joke about being late and running on PSC, Pierre Standard Time. But anyway, they're sitting there like chopping it up, you know, and he's like, hey Corey, you know, what's up, how you been? They're just talking, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere he's like, oh yeah, I almost forgot, I got something for you. And he gave him the letter on the radio, and I was just in disbelief, and quite honestly I questioned my sanity. Like I legitimately, like this sounds crazy, but I legitimately wondered if I had gone crazy, because I've seen a lot of people go crazy back there and lose their minds, and I wondered, like, am I crazy? And
Yeah, but that's the point.
yeah, right. So
Irrelevant to the story, but yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that very same day that night they came with cardboard boxes. They were like, Gentry, pack it up. So I ended up going back to the county jail, bailing out. And the night my mother came to New Jersey to get me, Corey Taylor was playing a concert at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And I really wanted to go to it, but as I told you guys before in an earlier video, my appellate lawyer told my mom, get me the hell out of New Jersey. There, that's better. And
So you're the one telling the story.
yeah, but yeah, he told my mom, get me out of New Jersey because the police are corrupt. The prosecutors were pissed that I was out, and they would like plant drugs on us and get me and my mom locked up. So my mom was like, hell no, we're not going to no concert in New Jersey. You're getting the hell out of here. So
Yeah, they did. They got the fuck out of New Jersey.
we definitely did.
And stayed out of New Jersey.
Stayed out.
As long as you could.
Yep. So I go to just south of Chicago, Illinois to go work on a pipeline. And like my first day at work out there, I'm sitting in the truck with my little brother and I'm telling him this story and how I wanted to go to the concert and I couldn't go. And so he goes, well, let's just see where they're going next. So he pulls his phone out, his smartphone, and this is the first time I ever even seen a smartphone. And he pulls it out and Googles it up, and it just so happened that show, it was a Corey Taylor solo acoustic performance, and they were going to Chicago that Friday night. So we go to try to buy tickets to it, but it was sold out. So I'm just like, oh, well, you know, we tried. But my little brother goes, well, let's just see if Craigslist has got any tickets. So he goes on Craigslist, and bam, there's a dude with 5 tickets for sale for $100 a piece. We call him up. The guy meets us after work. We drive up to Chicago and meet the dude in his parking lot. The tickets are like photocopies, like clearly on like printed on like computer paper. And I'm just like telling my little brother, like, yo, bro, like that ain't official. Like, you know, you're getting ripped off. Don't do it. Don't do it. And my brother the guy's like, oh, I do this all the time. It's cool. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I would say too if I was trying to rob somebody, rip somebody off. But anyway, my brother gives the dude $500. We buy the tickets. Me, my 2 brothers, and their 2 wives. We all go up to Chicago that Friday night. They let us in the door. I couldn't believe it. We weren't there very long, and my brother and his now ex-wife got into it, and she stormed off. And I told him, like, hey man, go get her. Like, I just want everybody to have a good time, because them guys didn't care nothing about seeing Corey Taylor. Like, they only went because of me, you know, because I was facing life in prison and I may never see the streets ever again. And that, you know what I mean? That was like my make-a-wish that they did for me. And it was awesome.
So he stayed, he met me.
Well, I followed her. She stormed off to the bar. I go back to try to get her to come back. And I glanced to my left. And I'm pretty sure the first thing I said to you was, damn, I thought you were Paul Booth for a second.
I believe it probably was. I
Yeah.
was like, nope, I'm way cooler than Paul Booth.
Yeah. So, tell them what happened. You tell them what happened next.
I don't know. That was like 10 fucking years ago. I don't know.
That was...
We hung out, we became friends. I took you to see Slipknot
Yeah.
and meet them, and
You gave
then
it-
you went back to jail, and
Oh,
you went
don't
back
gotta-
to prison.
You don't
and
gotta tell that part.
And I spent years helping, trying to get you out of prison, and here we are. No, I mean, you went back to prison for that. For that. Remember, you were out, and then you went back in, Because remember, we were fighting to try and get you out.
No,
forever
I was
in New
out.
Jersey.
I wasn't back in. I was out on bail.
Or you were still in trial. You're on trial.
Yeah, I was on
You're
trial.
on trial. Yeah.
Yes, I was on
You still had
trial.
to get retried.
Yes.
You didn't go back to jail. You stayed out on bail.
Right.
But you got retried, and we were fighting through that
Exactly.
whole thing to try and get you a fair trial in New Jersey, which
I lucked out and got a good jury. Matter of
you
fact, I think I'm going to have one of my jurors to come on here. She said she would.
that'd be awesome. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
I think that's going to make an
But
awesome
yes,
video.
I'm friends with Corey Taylor, and
Well, this is like I told you, like I question whether it really even happened or not, and he like asked Corey about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember that."
Yep,
and
he
so
remembered.
he gave us backstage passes. Hey, we had 8th row tickets to Slipknot and Lamb of God with backstage passes. It was badass, and
No, I would have gotten those regardless, but I took him, and we went.
but
But Corey wasn't even around. We hung out with Mick and Jim Root, I think, and Sid.
yeah.
Corey was off being Corey somewhere.
Right. Well, but
It was still awesome.
he still gave us.
He still hooked it up.
You know, he hooked us
So
up.
you remembered. That's the most important part. You remembered.
Yeah. So I knew like that I wasn't crazy. But yeah, that's a true story. So thank you guys for listening. I'll try to make another video. I got some ideas for some stuff I want to talk about. Got to work tomorrow, but after work, or no, I'm doing that third part of the interview with Joe Guerrero tomorrow night. So I don't know if I'll get to make one for this, but there's more videos to come. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Share this. Try to get me some more subscribers. Love you guys.